The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News Headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
An over $40 million daily loss, a regional productivity warning, and a one-year port fee suspension. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Monday, November 10, 2025. I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, a massive $41 million daily loss forces Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited to resume toll charges across major routes. On the regional front, ECLAC warns of a productivity trap in its 2025 report, urging bold industrial reforms across Latin America and the Caribbean. And over on the global stage, the United States suspends port fees on China-built ships for 1 year following the Trump-Jinping trade deal. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the CBX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why CBX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today. I called them, they listened to my concerns and my fears, and they gave me the answers. All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is one of the best decisions I have ever made in business. If you want to change the trajectory of your business and to grow, make that call today to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You will be glad you did.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. Remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so Mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
I'm trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
I'm also trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
Start a conversation with the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Check jamstockx.com for information and a list of registered stockbrokers. You can also call the Jamaica Stock Exchange at 876-967-3271 for information on how to begin. I am achieving my financial goals.
I'm achieving my financial goals.
Serious about building Jamaica? Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy, and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5099.
Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Build up your body, boost up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items, such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-923-5111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. You remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so Mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with the financial fallout from Jamaica's toll suspension. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, TJH, says it lost an estimated 41 million Jamaican dollars per day during the 2-week closure prompted by Hurricane Melissa, a shortfall that has now led to the resumption of toll charges. The Toll Authority of Jamaica confirmed that fees resumed at 12 a.m. on Monday, November 10, following a formal request from the company's attorneys. The suspension had been ordered on October 27 by Transport Minister Darrell Vaz in anticipation of the hurricane's passage. That decision, made under the Toll Roads Act, allowed emergency responders, relief agencies, and citizens to move freely through the east-west and north-south corridors as recovery operations began. Minister Vaz explained that the government acted fully within the law and out of a humanitarian necessity, describing the toll waiver as vital to restoring access to affected communities. However, he said the Ministry of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications later convened a meeting with both toll operators after TJH reported heavy financial losses and sought an immediate resumption of tolling. Vaz noted that North-South highway operators made no similar claims and remained fully cooperative, earning commendation for their partnership during the crisis. He added that while toll operations have now resumed, the government expects operators to maintain access for official vehicles, NGOs, and volunteers continuing the recovery effort. The European Union (EU) has announced €2 million in emergency aid for Jamaica as part of a broader €5 million package for the Caribbean. The funds will help restore livelihoods, rebuild infrastructure, and support small businesses affected by Hurricane Melissa. The announcement was made by the EU's Commissioner for Equality, Preparedness and Crisis Management, Haja Labib, during a high-level meeting with Minister Audrey Marks on the weekend.
The EU has also mobilized €5 million in emergency funding to meet the most urgent needs, and this includes €2 million for Jamaica, $2 million for Cuba, and $1 million for Haiti, to help families rebuild, restore basic services, and recover their livelihoods.
In addition to the initial grant, the Commissioner also announced an estimated €1 million to support the Red Cross in both Cuba and Jamaica.
I'm pleased to announce an additional €1,250,000 to support the Red Cross response in Cuba and Jamaica. This includes funding to combat the outbreak of arboviruses in Cuba in areas hit by the hurricane.
That was the EU's Commissioner for Equality, Preparedness and Crisis Management, Haja Labib. We move now to Western Jamaica, which received the brunt of damage from Hurricane Melissa. Business leaders across Montego Bay, St. James are being urged to restart operations on a phased basis as the region begins the long road to commercial recovery. A phased reopening, the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry says, allows enterprises to rebuild supply chains, rehire staff, and restore customer confidence, all without overextending scarce resources. President of the Chamber and proprietor of the family-run Pier 1 restaurant, Jason Russell, says while conditions remain challenging, reopening is essential to economic revival. Similar determination is being seen among smaller operators. Lowell Spence, owner of Smokey's Seafood Restaurant in Rose Hall, says his establishment was flattened by the storm but has since resumed limited operations from the parking lot. In White House, Snapper's restaurant has already reopened after sustaining only minor damage. Owner Milton Russell said he's grateful to resume serving customers and supports the wider push for economic renewal. The Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry says it will continue to monitor business conditions, provide guidance to members, and advocate for additional support from government and private sector partners as the region works to restore full commercial activity. And as Jamaica recovers from the catastrophic impact of Hurricane Melissa, employers are confronting one of the most difficult questions in business recovery. What happens to workers when operations can't resume at full capacity? The Category 5 storm ravaged the island's western region, shuttering hotels, restaurants, and manufacturing facilities and throwing thousands of employees into uncertainty. Now, many business owners are grappling with redundancy, a legal process that provides economic support to workers who have lost their jobs, but one that under Jamaica's law places the full financial responsibility squarely on employers. Speaking earlier today, head of litigation and the Industrial Relations Practice Group at Myers, Fletcher and Gordon, Gavin Goff, says a redundancy is triggered when a business ceases operations, scales down, or no longer requires certain types of work.
What's redundancy? Redundancy offers economic support for workers who have unexpectedly lost their jobs because of economic conditions or a natural disaster. There are qualifications, not everybody is entitled to a redundancy. We're going to get into that momentarily. But you have to understand that the concept of a redundancy and a redundancy payment that accompanies it is with this in mind. An event like this in mind, where at least for a period of time, it may be a longer period of time, it may be indefinitely, the business can continue and employees' rights are triggered as a result of that.
Employers are being reminded that redundancy payments are not state-funded, but a direct obligation of the company.
Redundancy is paid for by the business. It's not paid for by the government. It's not paid for from any of these international agencies that are sending aid to Jamaica. So the employer is the one who's responsible for making redundancy payments and for making persons redundant, if that's the case. And the resources from that need to come from the business.
Mr. Goff is also urging companies to treat redundancy as a last resort.
Redundancy is seen in Jamaican law as being a last resort. It's something which you should not do lightly. And if you take it without considering what the alternatives are, then it could be unsafe for the employee and for you as well as an employer. So considering that redundancy is supposed to be a last resort, we need to consider what are the alternatives instead. Could it be, for instance, that you change the contract that the employee had? So instead of them having a permanent contract working 40 hours, 9 to 5, 6 days or 5 days a week, could it be that they're only going to be working part-time? Could it be that you're going to keep them or transfer them from their particular position into another role where they could be utilized? So
that was head of litigation and the Industrial Relations Practice Group at Myers, Fletcher and Gordon, Gavin Goff. We move to the latest updates from the JSE Equities. In Monday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 103 stocks, of which 35 advanced, 46 declined, and 22 traded firm. Today's winners are 138 Student Living Jamaica Variable Preference, Productive Business Solutions 10.50% Perpetual Cumulative Redeemable Preference Share, Express Catering, and G West Corporation Ordinary Shares, while leading the losers are 138 Student Living Jamaica, Omni Industries, Radio Jamaica, and Main Event Entertainment Group. The main index declined by 1,819.88 points, or 0.58%, to close at 313,419.28 points. The junior market index declined by 16.88 points, or 0.50%, to close at 3,362.67 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by Carrie Chris. Regional ratings, global standard.
In today's market education feature, we'll be looking at the term bottleneck. A bottleneck is a point of congestion within a production process, such as an assembly line or computer network, that slows or even stops the entire system. These slowdowns often lead to delays, inefficiency, and higher production costs. The term comes from the shape of a bottle, where the narrow neck limits how quickly liquid can flow out, much like how a bottleneck restricts business output. In business, bottlenecks can result from short-term issues like an absent employee or long-term challenges such as shortages of key materials. Identifying and resolving them early is critical to maintaining productivity and controlling costs.
The market education feature was brought to you by CBX Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Build up your body, boost up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. A stark new warning from the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, says the region could remain locked in a low-growth productivity trap unless governments move decisively to modernize their industries, strengthen innovation, and reform development financing. The warning comes in a major report released ahead of the CELAC EU Business Forum in Santa Marta, Colombia. ECLAC Executive Secretary Jose Manuel Salazar said the region's growth potential is being stifled by weak investment and fragmented policy. The report shows that regional governments invest only about 0.5% of GDP in industrial and innovation policies, far below the 3% average in advanced economies. Tax exemptions only equal to roughly 4% of GDP, further limiting resources for research and technology upgrades. Meanwhile, OECD Secretary General Matthias Cormann is urging the region to adopt ambitious reforms to close productivity gaps, reduce informality, and expand value-added exports. He said deeper regional connectivity, stronger capital markets, and targeted skills training could unlock sustainable and inclusive growth. The Central Bank of the Bahamas is accelerating its push towards a fully digital economy, unveiling plans to introduce a national fast payment system that would enable instant transactions across banks, businesses, and consumers. Speaking recently during the bank's quarterly press briefing for Q3, Governor John Roll says the initiative marks the next phase of the country's digital finance transformation.
The central bank is continuing to work in terms of outreach to promote digital payments adoption, including Sand Dollar, and that's outreach that is happening, particularly in terms of how we impact what's going on in the Family Island. We see that as a continuous process, but we see it as being especially complemented by our new initiative, which is pushing more generally for the Bahamas to move in the direction of fast payments, which basically extends the digital payment experience more widely in the population and to all of the users of the banking system, in addition to those who are currently only using the digital wallets. And so we did put out on the weekend a request for proposal so that we can see what suitable technology providers out there exist that can provide that, help us build and deliver that technology.
That was Governor for the Central Bank of the Bahamas, John Roll. In other news, the government of Grenada has partnered with the People's Republic of China for the construction of the Mount Rodney Bypass Road in St. Patrick West. The project, fully financed through Chinese grant support, is designed to improve access to markets, schools, and essential services for rural communities long cut off from inadequate infrastructure. Speaking recently at the soil turning ceremony, Foreign Minister and MP for St. Patrick West, Joseph Andal, welcomed the project as a milestone for the constituency and for Grenada's broader development ambitions.
I am especially happy to be here this morning to see this project starting the process of coming into fruition. I am quite confident that the work will proceed on schedule and on budget. We pray that the weather will cooperate so that we do not lose time in its construction. And although we are well into November, I'm not sure that we'll be able to give a Christmas gift to the people of this street, but definitely I'm confident that we will be able to give them something to smile about in the new year.
That was Foreign Minister and MP for St. Patrick West, Joseph Andal. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 19 securities, of which 1 advanced, 8 declined, and 10 traded firm. Today's winner is Guardian Holdings Limited, while leading the losers are First Citizens Group Financial Holdings, National Flour Mills, and McCall and JMMB Group. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 38.53 points to close at 1,340.08. The Composite Index declined by 20.65 points to close at 929.43. The Cross-Listed Index declined by 0.18 points to close at 68.57. The SME Index remained at 95.60. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is
so much book you need for high school?
I'll show you how to make sure you have all the money for my books and even some extra. It's called budgeting, Dad. Making a budget is the most important thing you can do to track your money. It keeps a record of how much you make, how much you spend, where you spend it, and most importantly, how much you can save. Write down all your income, write down all your expenses, see where you can cut down and allot more money to more important things, like saving.
Welcome back. In international news, the United States has officially suspended port fees on China-built cargo ships for 1 year, signaling a major thaw in maritime tensions between Washington and Beijing. The U.S. Trade Representative confirmed that the suspension took effect at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on November 10, part of a broader trade accord reached between President Donald Trump and President Xi Jinping in South Korea. The policy rolls back the $50 per net ton levy introduced last October, which had targeted Chinese shipyards accused of unfair trade practices. China has now removed its retaliatory port fees on U.S. vessels. But not everyone is cheering. Maritime strategist Hunter Stiers blasted the move as a strategic mistake, arguing that the U.S. should have instead built a coalition with allies to impose coordinated port charges on Chinese ships. As global shipping steadies after months of friction, another sector is feeling the impact of policy change: the finance sector. Visa and MasterCard have proposed a long-awaited settlement that could lower interchange fees for U.S. retailers, potentially reshaping how Americans pay for goods and what perks they earn. The court-pending deal would resolve a 20-year antitrust lawsuit accusing the companies of fixing card fees. It calls for a 0.1% reduction over 5 years and gives merchants the power to add surcharges or reject premium cards. Both firms say small businesses will benefit from lower costs, but the National Retail Federation dismissed the plan as window dressing. Economists warn that trimming fees could mean smaller card rewards since cashback and points are funded through interchange revenues. From payment systems to precious metals, the effects of fiscal optimism and market uncertainty are also moving global commodity prices. Gold futures surged more than 2% on Monday, reaching $4,100 per ounce as investors bet on renewed government spending and a possible end to the U.S. government shutdown. The rally came after the Senate advanced a bill to reopen the government and President Donald Trump floated a $2,000 dividend proposal for Americans. Analysts say the comments revived expectations of expansive fiscal policy and inflation hedging. Market analyst Daniela Hawthorne of Capital.com noted that investors are running it hot, buying gold as a safeguard against policy uncertainty and rising inflation expectations. A resolution to the shutdown could also unlock economic data releases, helping guide the Federal Reserve's next rate cut decision in December. And finally, in corporate news, one British telecom firm may soon change hands as global deal-making heats up. British telecom and cloud services provider SCG is reportedly exploring a sale valued at up to £800 million or US $1.07 billion. Recent reports suggest that SCG has hired Julian Loki to solicit buyer interest, with sale information expected to be circulated this week. Founded in 1965, SCG serves small and medium-sized UK businesses with data, mobile, and cloud-based communications. Talks are said to be at an early stage, and the owners could still decide against a sale. The move underscores growing investor appetite for consolidation in UK's telecom sector. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side.
It smells so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It smells so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It smells so good right now. Don't never ever ever wanna calm down. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, a $41 million daily loss drives Trans-Jamaican Highway to resume toll charges. Regionally, ECLAC warns Caribbean region faces productivity trap in 2025. And internationally, U.S. suspends port fees on China-built ships for 1 year. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.